So, you want to move to Sedona? Cool story, bro. I don't blame you. Join the club. It's one of the most beautiful places in the world. No wonder so many Asian tourists like to come here. I mean, the Asians really do have great taste when it comes to travel and experiencing other cultures and aesthetics. And let me tell you, they are everywhere taking selfies with their iPads because that's kind of just what they do. But what is motivating you to move here or to come here? Is it because you have some kind of special talent or interest in an occult subject, one of the Vedic sciences maybe? Could be a type of yoga or two. Uh, Maybe it's tarot, or maybe you're a psychic or something like that. Fair warning, those fields are oversaturated here. So don't think that moving here is just going to automatically lay abundance at your feet. You have to bring something very unique, very original, but also very competent to the scene if you want to make it in one of those fields in this town. Okay, I'm an astrologer. Most astrologers here are actually Eastern Vedic astrologers. I'm a Western astrologer, so that's one thing that helps me to stand out a bit. I also teach a lot, whereas a lot of other astrologers kind of just try to gain clients, or maybe they work at a crystal shop in the back or something like that. I take a totally non-woo-woo approach to the practice. It's grounded in traditional philosophy from both the West and the East, but the style of astrology that I practice is chart interpretation. It's not psychic work. It's not predictive or prophetic or anything like that. I'm not telling people what to do. I'm simply helping people own what they choose to do better. And that's one of the best things that we can do for people as a so-called healer or energy worker, which I don't really like either of those terms. If you're coming into Sedona loading your practice with those kinds of terms, you should also check yourself, because there are a lot of fake practitioners in this town doing that. But it comes with the territory, doesn't it? This is a very spiritually active place. But with that, you have to accept that there's bad along with the good. There's some great people here, some very powerful individuals, and some very great work happening in this town, and there probably always will be. But on the other hand, there are a lot of people who get starry-eyed about it, and it's the same thing in show business. I've worked in the film industry before. People who show up as an extra on a movie set and they're just starry-eyed at the whole process, and after the first day of being an extra, they say to themselves, I want to become an A-list Hollywood actor. Really? Good luck with that. Okay? This is kind of the Hollywood of energy work, Sedona. Okay? So you really have to bring it. And it helps to have some actual credentials as well. Are there any certifications in your field that you can get? Is there any education that is not just going to give you credibility in people's eyes, but give you skills that are relevant to your field, that are actually going to help your prospective career? I have a master's degree in philosophy. It's from a Western philosophical school, and quite a conservative one. So that's something that also makes me stand out, because that is not at all typical of people who are interested in astrology or practice it. But if you look back in history, the best astrologers were also philosophers, and vice versa, especially around from the Greek to the Hellenistic period, but dating back as far as the Egyptians. So what gives your work actual grounding? Do you use the H word or the E word? Are you a healer or an energy worker? Okay. That's a big term. It's a big role, big shoes to fill. All right. If that's what you're calling yourself. I don't necessarily call myself that. I just kind of do the work as well as I can. I focus on quality and minimal effort on promotion and on selling myself. So that's really the main thing you have to ask yourself. Are you doing it to put yourself in front of people and to get attention? And does that desire to be a practitioner actually come from a place of trauma and damage, and this is just part of your healing process? Or is there something about you that and your talent that really does stand out? Do you really have what it takes to be successful? Okay. Interestingly enough, fields like astrology, especially astrology, are tools that we can use to become more self aware. I can look at someone's chart and tell if they should not become an engineer. You know, I went to school with a lot of guys who thought that they wanted to be an engineer because they looked up to it as kind of like a alpha of the mind kind of job. They liked what it afforded, the status that it afforded, that it would afford them, but they weren't actually willing to do what they had to do to become an engineer, or they didn't have the intrinsic talent for, say, calculus and physics that you need, like the back of your hand, to become an engineer. All right. Same thing with healing and energy work and the alternative health sciences and everything like that. Okay. Do you actually have what it takes? Well, if you're being honest about using those things, you can learn about yourself through practicing them as a client. Okay, so you must first be a student of the subject, of the field, of the art, before you can become a master. But even then, if you're honest with yourself, you'll realize that even if you gain a certain degree of competence that is sustainable in your field, you'll know that you'll never fully be a master. And that's what continues to motivate you to learn throughout your career. And that's ultimately going to be the thing that makes you most successful, given a sufficient baseline ability and talent for that subject to begin with, because we're not all equal. And your birth chart shows that. So hit me up if you're confused about which path to take. I can help you become more self-aware through you understanding your chart better and set you on the right path. So anyway, if you're looking to move to Sedona, make sure that you're coming in with a certain degree of self-awareness, because as the Vedic astrologers say around here, this is very much a Rahu or North Node type of place, which means it can be full of abundance and opportunity if you're in the right place and the right mindset coming in. But it can just as easily spit you out if you are not meant for it. And you're going to get those lessons cold, hard, and fast if you do come here. So I always recommend visiting. There's tons of things to do, places to check out, and great nature to hike. And it is absolutely gorgeous. But just come in consciously, intentionally, and don't think that your, woo-woo surface level practice is going to make it. You have to really bring a high level of competence and intention and consciousness and uniqueness to the field, because it is a hub, Hollywood of the energy arts, we'll say. So have a good day, guys. Cheers.